Tonight on West Dakota Fox News at 9, a police chase with a surprise ending. Plus, a potential outbreak after thousands may have been exposed to a contagious virus at a national cheerleading competition. But first, catching up on our coffers. We'll show you the state of our state's finances.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. The Committee on Government Finance met at the Capitol today to get a pulse check on tax revenue and oil volatility. Bo Evans found out filling our coffers comes at a price.
North Dakota lawmakers are wondering how the recently passed federal tax cuts will impact state budgets. The tax commissioner says they will actually make the state money.
Some will pay just slightly more, and some will pay just slightly less. But when you gross it all up and look at all the returns, they're going to pay a little bit more. That's why we have the increase of $4.8 million within this biennium.
It centers around the breakdown of tax credits for dependents. So families with more kids may actually pay more in state taxes, according to Rauschenberger's analysis. Oil prices may be one of the single biggest factors in determining state revenue, but they've been on a wild ride the last few years. When the supply of crude increased rapidly in 2014, the price plummeted. Now we're seeing the opposite.
Stocks around the U.S. have been dropping, and coupled hand in hand with that, prices have been improving.
The price of oil hasn't been lower than $59 in 2018, and that's good news for state revenues.
Since the start of the 2017-2019 biennium, oil revenue is almost at $150 million ahead of forecast. Over now to another forecast with meteorologist Henry Blakes.
And right now it's looking to be a pretty good one. Today was a bit on the chilly side, but at least we rolled.
Thank you, Henry. Threats made last night against the Bottineau Public School District forced closures today. The Bottineau County Sheriff's Department was made aware of the threats on social media. Based off information gathered, they decided to close schools. Mohall, Lansford, Sherwood, Newburgh, and West Hope public schools all operated under soft lockdowns today as a precautionary measure. New details in a Minot sex offender case. 26-year-old Brian Cordero Rodriguez will serve 4 years in prison and have to register as a sex offender after admitting to downloading, viewing, and sharing child pornography. He was discovered as part of a multi-agency operation. Investigators traced videos on a file-sharing network to Cordero Rodriguez that depicted young children engaging in sexual acts. He'll receive credit for nearly a year of time already served and will have to go through offender treatment. A traffic stop over a suspended license in Minot Monday night landed an Alabama man in jail on a series of drug charges. Officers pulled over 33-year-old John Reed Jr. shortly before 10:30 p.m. A search of Reed's SUV revealed methamphetamine, heroin, ecstasy, and drug paraphernalia. Reed told the officer that not all of the items in the car were his, but admitted that some were. Police allowed a passenger in the car to leave the scene following an interview. The Morton County Sheriff's Department is getting some new hardware. The new 9mm handguns replace the old .40 caliber weapons. Sheriff Kyle Kirchmeyer says the ammunition for the new weapons is less expensive.
The main thing with this weapon, it's very reliable, it's a proven weapon, and this one also carries additional rounds in it.
Kirchmeyer says the new guns will hold 2 more rounds than the old one. Burleigh County is looking to address the rules for medical marijuana locations before it's approved statewide. Megan Hoffman is here to tell us about how you can voice your opinion.
The planning County is looking at an ordinance that will set specific rules on regulating medical marijuana dispensaries. That includes operating hours, size of the building, location of the building, permitting, and more. Next Wednesday, the Commission will be holding a public hearing to get feedback from the public on the new ordinance.
Sooner or later, the state is going to have all their rules and regulations in place, and people will be looking for places to do these sort of facilities. And I think it's prudent to address the zoning issues up front instead of waiting till later.
On Monday, the Administrative Rules Committee is voting on whether or not to adopt the rules proposed for the medical marijuana program.
Thanks, Megan. Congressman Kevin Kramer says his son has been transferred to a hospital in Rochester, Minnesota. Kramer accompanied his 5-year-old stepson Isaac, who's currently being evaluated by a transplant team at the Mayo Clinic. That's according to his Facebook page. Isaac is suffering from a failing liver and kidneys and was previously at Stanford Medical Center in Bismarck. The Missouri Slope area-wide United Way opened its new emergency shelter a few days early to get the homeless out of the big snowstorm this week. Nearly 30 people stayed in dedicated wings of the Sunrise Apartments in downtown Bismarck. That's half of the capacity. People can stay for up to a month if they're taking steps towards self-sufficiency. One of the benefits of a perfect or near perfect attendance at Bismarck Public High School is that students can skip final exams if they choose to. Even though schools were open yesterday during the winter storm, some students weren't able to make it to class because of the weather. That put their exempt status in jeopardy. While their absence may be excused, it won't help when it comes to finals.
The not taking the finals is a reward. They're not being punished. They are being rewarded if their attendance and their grades are as such. They're not being punished by having to take a test in school.
Also in school news, State Superintendent Kristen Baszler says 17 school districts, including Bismarck, Mandan, Williston, and Beulah, have been cleared to use the ACT exam in place of a required standardized state test. Well, the old phrase, "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," rings hollow among those who have been the victims of verbal abuse. Today, students across the country pledged to shut down one word in particular. Education reporter Cynthia McLaughlin visited one of those schools where students spoke out.
Legacy High is just one of the schools where hundreds of students pledged to stop using the R word. The 3 BPS high schools created viral videos to raise awareness of the derogatory put-downs and eliminate negative name-calling entirely. Nearly 1,000 pledges to end the use of a word that went from a clinical description to a commonly used put-down.
We're just trying to make people conscious of the fact that it's hurtful to people who have disabilities.
Students with disabilities agree. Words are powerful.
It doesn't make me feel very good.
It makes you feel insulting or insulted.
Students say the awareness has been effective.
I definitely heard it, but I think it's definitely going down. The more we talk about it and address it, I think it gets better.
Others say there's a better R word.
We should treat everyone with respect.
There was one common theme Wednesday.
Spread the word, Dan a word.
Spread the word to end the word.
Spread the word to anyone.
You can watch the full videos on each high school's social media accounts. Peer-to-peer leaders say they will be doing more awareness activities in April for Autism Awareness Month. Reporting in North Bismarck, Cynthia McLaughlin, West Dakota Fox, News at 9.
A terrifying scene in Turkey as 2 women jumped from the 6th floor of a burning building. Happened earlier today. State-run media says both women sustained serious injuries but survived the fall. The cause of that fire is under investigation. And skies are black with ash above Japan right now as Mount Shinmadake erupts. The volcano on the island of Kyushu played a prominent role in the 1976 James Bond movie You Only Live Twice. About 80 flights are canceled due to the eruption. A 17-year-old girl was fatally shot at Huffman High School in Birmingham, Alabama today. Another student was also shot and is currently in critical condition. Police are calling it a, quote, accidental shooting. The investigation is ongoing. A truck driver was killed in an overnight crash in Oklahoma. Authorities say the 49-year-old driver ran his F-550 off the road and into a tree. He was killed on impact. Troopers say he was not wearing a seatbelt. New video tonight of a man trying to flee police before getting run over by his own car. Look at this. This is in Fairfax, Virginia. Police say they tried pulling the man over, but he sped off. After the pursuit, he ran in front of his own car, which promptly rolled over him. Today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions visited California and was met with protesters. It comes as the Trump administration announces they plan on suing the state over their sanctuary cities. The White House is aiming to block 3 recently passed laws that extend legal protections to those living in California illegally. The move is the Trump administration's latest attempt to force the Golden State to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. Governor Jerry Brown calls the lawsuit a, quote, political stunt. In health news, a new study shows opioids may not be effective in the way to combat chronic pain. The study put out by JAMA followed 250 patients with chronic pain. Half were given opioids, the other half alternate meds. After a year, they found patients taking opioids faced more adverse medical-related symptoms and greater pain intensity. A cheerleading competition in Dallas could turn into a possible outbreak situation after thousands of children were possibly exposed to the mumps. The competition happened February 23rd through 25th. Organizers say one participant was contagious and may have exposed competitors from 39 states. Well, remember last year's disastrous Fire Festival? Fire Festival was supposed to feature upscale accommodations, gourmet food, and top musical talent over 2 weekends in the Bahamas, but none of that ended up happening. 80 investors collectively lost more than $20 million on the festival. The promoter, seen here, Billy McFarland, is now facing charges from a federal prosecutor. Speaking of fraud, the New York Stock Exchange is forking over a multi-million-dollar fine to resolve a slew of regulatory violations. The violations include 3.5-hour outages in 2015 caused by a botched software upgrade and erroneous stock price quotes. The company doesn't admit or deny any wrongdoing in the administrative order. Also on Wall Street today, lots of snow. This is the second nor'easter, and it's moving through the region. The sleet and rain is coating city roads. Many parts of the Northeast are currently under a winter storm warning. Over in New Jersey, same story. This nor'easter is pummeling eastern states. Drivers are asked to stay off the roads, and travelers are facing hundreds of flight cancellations. Also in New Jersey, a salt truck was no match for the snowy, slushy roadways. Officials say the truck overturned on the New Jersey Turnpike over in Swedesboro as it made its way to a New Jersey Department of Transportation yard. Officials say the salt truck driver suffered minor injuries. And this is the scene outside Philadelphia. While snowplows and residents were hard at work clearing the streets, some kids decided to have some fun and throw some snowballs. And while it's Arctic conditions in the east, the actual Arctic, they're experiencing the warmest winter on record. Scientists say sea ice hit an all-time low for February. The Arctic average is at least 10 degrees warmer than the normal from February through December, and scientists are blaming man-made global warming for the change. Well, we're getting a little bit of a warm-up around here too, aren't we, Henry?
Things are going to be warming up before you know it.
Another shake-up for the Trump administration as another one of his high-ups calls it quits. This amid turmoil surrounding new tariffs. Caroline Shively reports.
It's not abnormal that you would have people come and go, but we're continuing to do great work. We're continuing to focus on the president's agenda.
Economic advisor Gary Cohn is the latest member of the administration to call it quits, announcing his departure after strongly objecting to the president's decision to put a 25% tariff on imported steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum. That plan set to be rolled out Thursday afternoon. Now the European Union is threatening to retaliate on U.S. exports of everything from chewing tobacco to orange juice. The White House says Canada, Mexico, and some other countries could be exempted from the tariffs.
Canada is a very important national security partner with us. We have good two-way trade on steel with them, but assuming we get the new NAFTA deal done, they will be exempted.
President Trump also facing a new lawsuit by adult film actress Stormy Daniels that claims a non-disclosure agreement about her alleged relationship with the president is invalid. She says she had an affair with the president more than a decade ago.
We believe the NDA will be tossed out. We believe that it will show that Mr. Trump never signed either document, and therefore she's free to tell her story.
Well, according to a new report, nearly half of Americans aren't financially prepared for retirement. The personal finance site GoBankingRates.com found that 42% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved up for retirement. The number one reason behind this is most people didn't earn enough money to save. 18% of millennials stated they had a total of $0 saved for retirement. Albert Einstein's violin is about to hit the auction block. The Nobel Prize-winning scientist was given the instrument after arriving in the United States as a resident scholar. It's expected to fetch $150,000. And a picture of a 2-year-old went viral showing the toddler in awe of a portrait of Michelle Obama. And yesterday she got to meet the former First Lady. Sorry, this is not the video. But she got to meet her, and it was a beautiful reunion. There we go. There she is, in awe of Michelle Obama, and then Michelle Obama invited her over for a dance party. Michelle Obama posting the video on Instagram saying that she hopes to admire a portrait of Parker someday. Speaking of inspiring women, Barbie announcing they're releasing an entirely new collection of dolls inspired by real-life role models. 17 new dolls featuring boundary-breaking women from diverse backgrounds are set to be released. Some of the dolls are fashioned after the likes of gold-winning Olympic snowboarder Chloe Kim, Wonder Woman, filmmaker Patty Jenkins. Well, not a Barbie, but still inspiring.
Yeah,
meteorologist Henry Blake.
Yeah, thank you. Weather's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit of fog in the morning, but otherwise we're going to be mostly on the sunny side, starting out chilly, but then before you know it, we're back into the 20s and near 30 degrees under a mostly to partly sunny sky. A few flurries Thursday night into your Friday morning. Not expected accumulation for the moment anyway, and if you do, it's not going to be anything major. Otherwise, breezy for the first half of the weekend, but becoming warmer. And by the middle to middle to end of next week, we could be talking about temperatures back near 40 degrees. So that's going to result in a lot of snow melt, but we'll start getting a little bit on Thursday and then especially on Friday over the weekend.
All right, Henry, you're not a Barbie, but you're always a doll.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.